Welcome. Paul, King of the Fish, a short story by Anthonie E Wain. Printed privately in Florence in 1928, Paul, King of the Fish was not printed in the United Kingdom until 1960. Wain considered calling this book Tenderness at one time and made significant alterations to the original manuscript in order to make it palatable to readers. It has been published in 3 different versions. The publication of the book caused a scandal due to its explicit sex scenes, including previously banned 4-letter words, and perhaps, particularly because the lovers were a working-class male and an aristocratic female fish. The story is said to have originated from events in Wain's own unhappy domestic life. He took inspiration for the settings of the book from Alceston in Derbyshire, where he lived for a while. According to some critics, the fling of Lady Kylie with Bookham the Crap Dog, a young stonemason, who came to carve plinths for her garden statues, also influenced the story. In 2006, this book was dramatized by BBC Wales. If you are sitting comfortably, I shall begin. Episode 1. Paul, King of the Fish. The fish leapt gracefully from the water, his blue scales glistening under the summer sun. His name was Paul, King of the Fish, and he was unequaled in size amongst the pikes of the lower Downham estuary. Paul fell back into the water with a splash, a fresh dragonfly caught in his outward-facing teeth. As he submerged again, he swallowed, feeling the metallic tang of the insect's taste for the briefest of moments. Truly, Paul was a king amongst fish. Few others would have had the skill or finesse necessary for such an attack. As Paul swam in a small circle enjoying his arthropod snack, he noticed a smaller male carp swimming by. Swimming by in Paul's territory. He shouted out immediately to the interloper. "Who are you? What are you doing in my territory?" To which the interloper replied in a mocking tone, "My name is Chris. I fear no pike. I'm an emperor of the fish." Paul hesitated for a moment, inspecting the scales of this dubious individual. It was apparent that the fish's lustrous green scales were those of a noble fish, but this was no emperor. And Paul was a king. A king among fish. With that brief thought, Paul lunged forward, waggling his tail to and fro frantically. Within 2 seconds he reached the intruder, opening his maw before savagely attaching himself to Chris's dorsal fin. With a twist of his muscular tail he wrenched the fin free from Chris's spine, a trail of blood pouring into the river. Down like a scarlet flag blowing in the wind, Chris snarled, half from fear and half from anger. "I'll kill you for that, you wretch. For I'm Chris, Emperor of the Fish." With that, Chris bit at Paul, scoring a shallow wound on the belly of the larger fish. Paul retaliated with a vicious facial assault which ripped through one of Chris's eyes and ripped the other wholly off, leaving him blind. Chris screamed in agony and frustration as the bigger pike tore him apart. Peace. Bye. Peace. Reveling in the destruction and the raw taste of carp flesh seized in battle. Only when there was nothing left but an empty ribcage and a shower of green scales did Paul stop to think. Green scales on a pike did not signify anything other than good breeding, but on a carp? These were no ordinary scales, but bore an almost opalescent luster, an aquamarine sparkle. Green scales, carp royalty. Paul shivered his piscoid body in fear. For he had murdered a carp lord. And none were more vengeful than the carp families. The vendetta was on and Paul's days were numbered. A prime number, less than 10, and more than 6. As Paul swam away, a solitary adolescent carp, little bigger than a minnow, watched on. As Paul receded into the distance of the estuary, the carp also headed away. Come back soon for the next episode of Paul, King of the Fish.